Comic Book Savant, Reel to Reel Movie Talk. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. In this episode, we're going to be doing a reel to reel movie talk, movie review on the Sony Pictures Netflix released The Old Guard, which is based on I don't know if it's an ongoing series or a bunch of limited series that was written by Greg Rucka published by Image Comics. The breakdown as the film is as follows. It is a covert team of immortal mercenaries are suddenly exposed and must fight to keep their identity secret just as an unexpected new member is discovered. This was a great movie with a great cast of characters. We have Charlize Theron playing the lead character, Andy. We have Kiki Lanai. I don't know how to pronounce. I apologize for butchering that. As Niall, we have Matthias Schoenaerts as Booker, Marwan Kenzari as Joe, Luca Marinelli as Nikki, Titil Ejiofor as Copley, Harry Melling as Merrick, and Joey Anash as Keen. And I just have to say, this was a great film. It's based on really good source material, which I'm going to be doing a review. I don't know, you might hear the comic review or the trade review before you hear this. I'm not sure because I'm recording so much stuff, but it's a review coming on the source material, which is by Greg Rucka. Like I said, I'm trying to remember what the name of the Old Guard that first story is. Let me look while I'm talking to you. Opening. Okay, so it's Old Guard Volume 1, Opening Fire. It's been a Volume 2 that I'm assuming that the sequel will be based on that. That's coming because they did say they were going to be doing a sequel to this because it did rather well on Netflix, and this hit like not too long after really we all got locked down during the pandemic. I think this was originally supposed to be released theatrically, if I can talk. And then it just shifted over to Netflix, and I'm really happy about it because it's a great action film. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. This one, if you've read the comic, I don't know, and it's funny because I had bought the I don't know if I bought that individual issues of the trade for this, but I saw it and it kept coming up because Greg Rucka is one of my favorite writers, and I fell in love with his work from Queen and Country initially, which is an independent book, and then he went over and started doing work for DC and of course Marvel, and I followed him throughout his career, and I just kept seeing this coming up in my recommendations and stuff on Comixology, and I never picked it up, and I'm like, oh, it's Greg Rucka. So I finally bought it, and it just sat for like a year, and then next thing I knew, I kept hearing Netflix was really pumping this up about this film coming out, The Old Guard, and I say Charlize Theron, it looks kind of cool, and I was like, where have I heard it before? And then ramping up when they were dropping the movie, getting ready to release the movie, they were doing all these featurettes, and I saw it was based on this book, and I went back to, oh, I know this. So I actually watched the film before I read the book, and then I think I went back. Maybe I bought the first issue because it was on sale, and then I went back and I bought the rest of the issues after watching the movie and thoroughly enjoyed it, which is kind of backwards, but that's kind of what happened with this. And after watching the film, I've read the comic, and it's a pretty accurate adaptation, give or take some things to meet this had a medium level budget. This is not like a major $100 and some million movie. It had a very modest budget from everything that I understood, so they had to change certain things that were grander in the comic to meet the the constraints of a smaller budget and to meet it being a streaming film. It's definitely a great example on how studios uh, should include comic book creators in the adaptation of their own material. The screenplay was written by Greg Rucka himself. He read the comic, he wrote the script himself. I thought that was cool, and he was very involved in the whole process of making the movie. But we know he was a novelist before he ever got into comics. So it's cool seeing him do this, and now we know he can adapt. He's more than equipped to adapt his source material into viable scripts as well. So that's a good thing because he has so many great properties that I would love to see adapted in this way. And hopefully this might, especially if the sequel comes out and it does well, that they adapt more of his creator owned properties, because he has so many that would be great in this kind of format. And another thing I have to say about Greg Rucka is that he is one of the best writers in the business, male or female, when it comes to building great female leads. And in the whole Me Too movement and everything that has happened over the past few years, he was doing it way before it was a thing. So this was the perfect time and place for this film to come out in this time period. And plus, with us being all at home during the pandemic when this launched, like I said, I can't remember when it came out, but it came out like right in that first, when everybody was going into lockdown and we were at home, and it hit just like at the perfect time that more eyes probably got on this film during this period, which helped it even more, because I think it was important because the two main lead characters, Andy and Niall, are female leads. Just about things that happened with Charlize Theron recently, and I've always loved her as an actress. Don't always like her choices of movies, but I think she's a phenomenal actress. I think she's a cool person in all the interviews and stuff. If you want to see a funny interview, it's a YouTube show where celebrities come on and eat super hot wings. It's called Hot Ones. Search for Charlize Theron on Hot Ones. She's so cool. I think that made me fall in love with her more as a person as I am with her as an actress after seeing that, just how down to earth she is. Anyway, I digress. But I think another reason why this film is way more important than we can see short term, but in the long term, is that how she was hit with ageism, where they're trying to do a Furiosa prequel kind of movie and then recasting with a younger actress and not having her come back and reprise the role that she made famous in Mad Max Fury Road. Is crazy, but they aged her out. So it was cool seeing her get her shine and really like kicking tail in this movie, because the action scenes are done so well throughout this movie. But it was really cool that, again, Rucka turned in a solid script. He made the proper changes to transition to a small budget film. But I do hope they give them more of a budget in the upcoming sequel or sequels. I hope they keep doing more. Because like I said, these are I think they're 5 issue. He's done 2 so far. So right when the movie was coming out, the second series came out. But the first one had been out for a few years, and I guess it got picked up an option as a film. But I hope as they continue to do well, they continue to give them a little bit more budget each time, because I think they can really do it and knock it out the park. This film is directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, also a woman of color, female director. She directed one of my favorite love movies of all time, which is Love and Basketball. If you haven't seen it, check it out. She was associated with doing for Sony before everything kind of went haywire with the Spider-Man universe of movies. She was announced to direct Silver and Gold, the Black Cat and Silver Sable movie. But that movie got kind of put on hold. We don't know what's going on with that movie. But she's a talented director. She's done a bunch of TV. But if you ever want to check out a great film, check out Love and Basketball. And I hope they bring her back to direct the sequel, because she did a really great job with this. And I hope she does get more opportunities in Hollywood based upon how good this movie was. The action scenes were top notch. They brought in, and this when they did all the featurettes, which I thought was cool too. They brought in the people that worked on the John Wick franchise to oversee the action shots, and they look fantastic throughout the film. The whole cast from top to bottom turned in top notch performances, across the board. Uh, Matthias Booker is really stood out as one of the standout characters for me, next to Throne, Andy, and Kiki Lane's Niall. They're coming in close behind, but they really all the cast all brought their A game through this film. The only performance that kind of missed for me is Harry Melling's Merrick. He just kind of fell flat for me. It would have been cool to see a stronger actor that could have had a more menacing presence, because in the comic he was more of a menacing kind of character. So, and that was only kind of a misstep. But with so many high points, to say that was the only kind of misstep was with the villain, the casting of the villain. You can't win them all. 9 out of 10 ain't bad, I guess, when you look at it on the large scale. So to get into the brass tacks of it all, we all know when I do a movie review, 5 particular categories that I break down and I rate a movie on. Acting, I give it 8 out of 10. Casting, 9 out of 10. Direction, 9 out of 10. Special effects, if they had a bigger budget, especially because of the certain aspects of the powers of them being immortal, was spotty in certain spots, but for a small budget film, they're still solid throughout. And the story, I gave it 8 out of 10. Direct adaptation, and it was certain aspects that I would have loved to have seen a more grander translation of it from the source material, since it was so faithful to it. Would have been nice, but hopefully in the sequel they get a bigger budget so they could pull some of those shots off. Overall, 8.5 out of 10. This is definitely, for me, on my rating scale, a date night rental, so it's worth checking out. It is still on Netflix, so if you haven't watched this yet, if you have Netflix, check it out. The Old Guard is definitely worth your time. It's a great solid action film. That's all I really have for you guys for this episode. Again, more reel to reel episodes are coming. It's been a ton of movies, comic book related movies, animated movies that I've watched during my break and during the pandemic, that I've got tons of. I won't lie to you guys. I've been recording like nonstop the past like 2 weeks, and I still have let me look, like 75 like ideas slated that I'm working on in some shape, form, and fashion. I have another like 10 that's already ready, that I'm recording as we speak. I got about, after this, about 15 that's going to be slotted for release. This content coming. I'm not trying to snowball you guys. So I will be breaking it up. I've been doing one release a week, but now I'm building up, and it'll probably be like, you'll have 2 episodes a week. And then when I really get everything dialed in and settled down, you'll probably be getting about 3 episodes a week, breaking it up as far as the content that you'll hear. And my hopes is that you'll never just hear like in a week 3 reel-to-reel episodes. You'll get like 1 a week, and then you'll get something that's a comic sense that, I want to break it up, so it's never I'm doing just one type of episode and give you one type of content. I want it to be as varied as possible. That's why thank you for your patience working with me while I'm working out the kinks of Comic Book Savant 2.0 and trying to make it as seamless and as easy for you guys as listeners to give you as much variety from me on the content that you like to hear from me day in, day out, week to week. So hopefully you're liking it so far, and we're going to keep it going. But as always, you can find everything related to the show at comicbooksavant.com. You can also follow me on social media at Comic Book Savant on Twitter and Instagram. Also, you can check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/Comic Book Savant, all one word. that's all I have for you guys for this episode. Until next time, you guys stay safe out there. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.